Welcome to the Mentor Studio, where today's thought leaders and leading entrepreneurs inspire and bring real-world ideas that help you take your career to levels you've only dreamed of. Now buckle in. Here's your host, Michael Silvers.
All right. I wanted to welcome everybody to the Mentor Studio. I'm so glad. It's amazing because this is about learning and education, and you want to have the best of the best. What's really interesting is we always talk about great speakers out there and who's coaching, who's training, who's mentoring. And just to let all of you know out there, you're all great coaches and mentors and trainers, right? Because what you probably do is look, I'm training my grandkids every day. So there's always, right? Nieces, nephews, uncles, aunts, your own parents, if they're still around, whatever it is, there's always training and education going on. And today I actually have one of the best on the planet. I have not known him that long, but somebody that I really trust, know, and I'm talking about Mark right now. Mark, you don't want to sound him too much because he's on too many, but said this is the best guy on the planet, and it's so true. And when you hear Michael's background and what he's done and what he's going to do, you know why he's on the phone today. So without any further, and by the way, so welcome to the Mentor Studio. Guys, I just jump right in. We are home, right? We're all home based anyways. Usually it's grandkids or the cat or a dog or somebody running around later today. So life is good. And if you want to know more, see the people just go to the mentorstudio.com. Mentorstudio.com, simple, easy. You can see all the podcasts there. And we're really here for your education, your knowledge. And if you need anything further, we've now started to have weekly fairs. So you can come. Now, somebody said the other day, did you say affairs? No. Fairs, F-A-I-R. So we have weekly fairs every Tuesday now where businesses can just get together and we network. We do like a 10-minute training, and the rest of it's all about networking together. So if you want more information about that, just contact us at the Mentor Studio, and we'll go from there. All right. Without any further ado, for an amazing day today with an amazing broadcast, because podcasts are the only way, and you can't see what we're doing. You can even go to the YouTube channel, and all you're going to see is my face with Michael behind me and nothing else, no movement. So to get the live videos and the motion and the action, I'll talk more about that later. Let's give it up for Mr. Michael Nitti. Michael, how are you?
Hey, for me.
And usually I do a big introduction, but I don't even know how to introduce this man. Let's just say, and I'll do the quick and the dirty. Is he's changed more lives on the planet than most of us combined, who live in the city of Los Angeles. I don't even live there anymore. He was on Tony Robbins' executive team. He's actually really a good friend of also somebody else who I respect more than anybody on the planet, Mary Glorfield. And he's made a difference in so many people's lives. He does whatever it takes. He will literally take you for your success, not do the work for you. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about his background. So Michael, how are you today?
I am very fine. It's a privilege to be with you. So, again, a leader in the industry. I just honor what you do and what you bring to the party. And and I figure I've been doing this for almost 40 years. So you got to be, at some point, you're going to get good. So, by accident, right? So, and like you said, there's all kind of great coaches out there, because the truth is it flows through us. If you're a coach making a difference, if you're somebody in this industry making a difference, yeah, we got knowledge. Yeah, we picked up all kind of tips and pointers, and we know what we're doing. We know about the mind, and we know about our industry, and we know that stuff. But when you're in flow state, when you're just really contributing, when you're making it happen, it's not the knowledge, it's what's coming through you. It's your intention. So when you're watching, I see so many people with their podcasts and what they're doing when they're guests, they're in the flow state. So it looks like we're brilliant, and it's really just, source doing the job, and it's coming through us. Now, it's obviously shaped by our intention and what we know, but no, it's a wonderful privilege to be in this genre and to play with people like yourself and all of us that are out there contributing and make a difference. So, and I was doing that from a very early age when I went through my usual stuff that human beings do in their late 20s and early 30s, and went through some I just wanted to kill myself, and I found out about self-help, and that back then that was the EST training way back in the early 80s, in 1980, and I just fell in love with it. I had no clue what the gentleman was saying from the stage, but I could tell it was the truth. It just I couldn't make sense of it. So I jumped in, did all the courses, became a leader for Landmark, and started coaching in 1981, 82. And a funny aside was that one of the ladies in my original mastermind coaching program, of which there were like 30 people, and I was the leader, she then later went on to become somebody we hired for Tony in 1998. And then she was the one that launched Tony's coaching program in 1999. And she was a student of mine in 1982. So it was like really cool. So between then and there, I've been coaching all the time. And of course, on Tony's executive team, I actually got hired by Tony. Was so excited because I was going to be coaching and teaching, and they wanted me to run operations. I was like, what is this shit? So they really wanted me to be director of operations. I wanted to be coach. So, but unfortunately, I got to go to all the events and travel the world with Tony. And so while I was sitting out in the lobby and being in the events, obviously there were trainers and people that would support people. Well, I just put on that hat, and I was always coaching people. And then people would call in to Robin's research with challenges, and I would be the one that would get the call. So I was coaching even when I wasn't supposed to be coaching. And then I became a full-time coach in 2005. So I've been coaching for Tony and privately since 2005. So there you go.
Yeah. No, that's great. You know, the great thing too is the experience. There's I always say to people, being a coach is one thing, but you are actively in the field. I mean, and that's being a coach on the fly. That's a great skill to learn, because people always say, well, what should I do? And when we're back to live events, I always say, go crew events, because you learn things from the other side that you never see before. And, you know, the best coaches that I work with have been either on the operations side or have done crewing or you know, have done that because they're always of service. And right. And that being of service is really a critical piece as we take ourselves to the next level, you know. And you've been part of Tony's organization and around him for a long time, and it worked out for you. Right. But it doesn't. Right, but it doesn't always start the way you think it's going to, right? Because you know, it's like here, yeah, you run operations, and your dream was to be a coach, and you still realized it still led to the place you wanted to go. It just always doesn't take the path we're expecting. Oh,
well spoken, yeah. And the truth is, if you're running anything, if you're running a manager of human beings, if you're managing, you know, operations, you know, you're still a coach. So I was always a coach. And, you know, ever since I got conscious and took my head out of my ass. And so even in my other industries, you know, I was a defense contractor. I was in the power industry, power generation industry. It was before I got, you know, locked down with Tony. So, but I coached people. You know, my daughter right now, is a platinum master coach for Tony Robbins. Okay. And I started coaching her at 9 years old. At 9 years old, I wasn't a parent, I was a coach. Now, obviously, I parented her, but it was all coaching. And now today she's that. So, and she has been for quite a while. So it's always coaching. I mean, if you're really a leader of people, you are coaching them, not yelling at them, directing them, telling them how to do shit. You're a coach, or you're not. So. That's right. And, you know, the thing I once found, we had a wonderful person in a network marketing company, and her mom was one of the top leaders. And they asked her, because she was a social worker, and she went to one convention, and there was some of the students, some of the new network marketers said to her, so growing up with Ruth as your mom, how did that affect you? She's like, it wasn't so much about my mom, but in the car when I was a teenager, we didn't listen to music. We listened to some guy named Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn. And she said back then it was like, oh God, it doesn't get worse than this. But what it did for her, she said, is that when she first broke out into being a social worker, that she knew she could be the best social worker on the planet. That nobody could stop her from heading the direction. When she took care of children, there was like nothing, right? Because she had heard, right, be of service, you can do all these things, and you can always, and she said, I'm going to be the best social worker on this planet. And I'm going to help other social workers. So you never know how it's going to affect and relate. And we're coaches, and that comes into our lives. Our kids got the same thing too, right? Yeah. They heard the tapes and the books. And absolutely. You know. And that's better. She became a better social worker because she didn't read the book on how to be a social worker. Exactly. She just served and came from her heart. So there you go. And by the way, when you do that, 10 years later, you can write the book. Right. That's right. That's exactly right. Be the author, right? And it's funny because
actually have somebody who's a book writer. Don will be on my podcast eventually, very soon, actually. I'll tag you. But it is really about creating that next step. And part of what you do, I think, is you also take a look at not where they are today, but where they're going to be, but making sure they get the work done along the way. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, because when the very first session I have with anybody, I already see them where they're at. Even if they don't see where they're at, I already see them there. So if they've committed to it on paper and told me what they want, then I already see them there, because I already know they're going to get there unless they stop. But I know that I'm going to be supportive of them getting there, and I already see them there, so we just got to get rid of the stuff that's in the way of them getting there. Everybody thinks, what do you teach? I don't teach anything. I get the shit out of the way. I support you in letting go of all the shit that's in the way of you being who you are and who you already are to get where you want to be. So we just remove all the shit. We're a shit remover.
I like that. I like that. We're going to start that. That's going to be our new business. You got that? You and Mark are going to coin something. So we'll talk about that another day, right?
There you go.
Just get shit done. Yeah.
Business. That's what I do.
It'll be SHIT. Anyways. So, you've done, because you came through EST, and that meant you had a good bladder. So that was good. But as you came through, EST and all the education and training that you've done, was there any one, and there doesn't have to be any one particular book or anything that you read early on that you went, oh, that's it. That gets me up every day, or something you were watching, anything along those lines?
Well, usuals, but the biggest one would be Deepak's, the spontaneous fulfillment of desire, because I had already been living synchronicity and synchrodestiny and was allowing everything in my life to unfold by the universe just putting it in my lap and taking advantage of it. The universe is putting something in everybody's lap every minute, but most people don't take advantage. So I took advantage. And that's how I ended up with Tony. It's how I ended up with my wife. It's how I ended up with you today. I mean, it's just always, always, always. So I just simply showed up, took advantage, and I actually read that book after I had started doing that, but it just elevated it to a whole new level. So
Great.
That would be the book.
Yeah, and also, because we did a lot of work with Deepak, obviously, and, down in La Costa and where he has his, place. But the other part of it, I think, that you come from that heart of service, because I saw, Mark Usak, who I respect greatly, will just ask you, can you show up and and you would just say yes. You're always sort of saying yes to how can I be of service and how can I do more? And, I met some of your clients, and they said that was one thing about them. They know that you're not going to hold hand, but you're just there. Can you talk about a little bit about, we always talk on this show also about being of service, not just donating money. That's your time. That's your mental state. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know Tony does that with the platform too.
Being of service?
Yeah, being of service.
Yeah. Well, that is it. In other words, everything you're doing is being of service. So you already know you're going to get yours. Same thing with the synchrodestiny. It's like it would come to me. I knew I need to. Now I do a little, so everything knocks on the door. Most people, they open the door and go, nah, I'm waiting for this. Well, then you just said no to the thing you really should have been waiting for. So once you get it in and you are, having a conversation and you are looking at it from what it might be, well, then you do have to have the ability to simply say, no, this is not what I want right now, maybe somewhere else. And then you send it somewhere else. But mostly it's about, just, you're there it's service with respect to inspiring them and causing them, to be able to get what they want. Knowing I'm going to get what I want, I'm going to get it back, because if nothing else, I'm just going to feel wonderful. I'm going to grow. I'm going to get some new insights. I'm going to, to be honest, to get referrals. I can't, we all do that. You produce a result and you get, 3 phone calls, you get three emails from people. And then it took me a few years to find out that you would do this at the higher level. You get better phone calls. I coached a ex-president of Disney. That was not a small thing.
No. No.
That was not and she's not even at the top of the list. I mean, I've coached the Princess of Greece. I coached the executive producer of Extra, who's one of the top producers in Hollywood. She sends me people, and she doesn't send me her janitor. I would coach her janitor, anything for her. But I did. It didn't happen in the beginning. So you got to get where you got to get. And but the same thing. If I was coaching the janitor, he would get the same thing I gave the Princess of Greece.
Yeah,
it probably wouldn't be as much fun to work with, but.
You never know. You never know. We're back to that thing we just talked about earlier. But it's the kind of thing. This is actually great because we do get some coaches who obviously listen to this and people writing their first books because Don, you don't get to talk today, but everybody's writing their first book right now. It's a big time. Everybody's home and virtual. They got to do something. Write your book.
Right.
But it's the kind of thing where there's that fear though, Michael, because if I turned over a high level client to a new coach or somebody who's even been coaching for years and years, right. they get nervous because they get it's about me. I'm not enough. I'm not a billion.
You just said it. If you make it about you and whether or not you're going to succeed or whether they're going to like you, then but if you already know that you got the secret that's going to change their life and you're going to make sure they get it, that you're not going to rest until they get it, and they're free of what it is that's in their way, and they're stepping up into their life at a higher level with a better energy and all those great things. You already know there's no way you can. Now, there are some people I've worked with, there's a few, where they just never really allowed it in. It was their own fear that took them out. But usually not at that level because they wouldn't have already got to where they were before I met them if they were driven by fear. So I'm also kind of lucky there. Probably would have more trouble getting the janitor who said, no, I'm okay with being a janitor.
That's and that's the thing too, because we talk about when we coach people, they'll be like, well, I want to be this and this and this, and sometimes I'm like, well, wait a second, what do you love to do? And you'll get the person who says, I love to be a janitor. I feel I'm making such a difference in life. So then you have to look at, right, what is really going on for them? Maybe it's just they want to build a residual income so they don't have to worry about money. But it's not always about, giving away the thing that you might potentially really love to do. I know people who would sweep streets in San Francisco. They got paid really well for a while. But they loved it. They were outside. Nobody told them what to do. They did it on their own time. It was just money was always an issue.
Well, it's never, because again, that janitor would have come to me if he wanted to be the principal of the school rather than the janitor. We could get him there, but he wants to be that. No, it's usually, if it's for most people, if they're not aspiring to grow or be something more. What was the president of Disney going to be? President of the world? I mean, so, she was fine. So it was about relationships. So it's usually about relationships. It's something along those lines, or something with, maybe a little bit better management skills, something going on. There's going to be something. But no, there's people that are actually probably happier who aren't always trying to become something they already aren't, or whatever that would be. So it's whatever it is. For me, it's always about breaking people free of what is in their way. And the usual thing we all talk about, limiting beliefs, but it's mostly bigger than that. It's not their own personal limiting beliefs. It's the universal limiting beliefs that we all have. So I break them free of that and get them to step beyond that. But otherwise, it's relationships. It's always going to be about relationships. There's always somewhere where our relationship is not where it needs to be, or could be better, or whatever it would be. So even if it's about business or they're not, it's relationships. So.
Yeah, and that's the foundation of everything we do. And that's what we try to say is, right, whether it's business or it's your marriage or it's kids or it's your partner or it's all relationships. Yes. Everything has that foundation of relationships. And if that's not, it might be your relationship with money, right? It might be whatever that is, right? And if that relationship is out of whack or not, that's where the issue is. And that's getting down to that grassroots. And sometimes it's a little tweak. Sometimes, well, look, in the old days, because I got my master's in clinical psych back in the early 80s, and we had clients for 10 years, but that was called pays the rent. You know what I'm saying? But, it's because now with a lot of the technologies, within a couple months, you can move people much quicker. The new NLP. Talk about that a little bit.
Wait. Talk about what? I'm sorry?
Just how we can move clients so much quicker with the new technologies and the things we've learned than have to keep somebody in your stable for 10 years.
Oh, no. I'm usually shifting people within 2 sessions. 3 sessions, we're onto the power, and there we go. So, but what it is, whether it's relationship or later money, whatever it be, it's all these limiting beliefs. We know that. Mm-hmm. But it's the underlying universal limiting beliefs that are human limiting beliefs that are there for everybody that we break free of first. So as you know, you've heard me do the trophy effect and intention reaction and what we do. So we just go in and get them to see that it's just their mind, but everybody knows that. But when they can really get that they don't get rid of it, they just own it. Now they can quit trying to get past that stuff, and they just have to let it be there and then focus on who they truly are. And then we have them step into their power. And that's what we do in relationships. Now it's also, there's then with relationships, you got the additional layer on top of that of the memories of all the pain they've been through. So, for women, being in a culture where men are dominant and the men are, don't even realize they're talking down to women. And then, men, who really truly love women and have empathy for women, but of course they don't really know that that's how they're speaking to women. And so I always say whenever I coach relationships, even if the man is the one that hires me to fix the relationship, I already know who I need to, and I hate to use the word fix. It's always going to be the man. So if you guys are pissed and bring me right now, then don't come talk to me. But if you want a great relationship, come talk to me.
Yeah.
Now, are there a lot of conscious, enlightened men out there who don't do that anymore? Of course. And most of the people we work with in the genre are not walking around, and after a conversation with a woman getting reported to me too. But yeah, unfortunately, too many are. And it's so subtle, they don't even know they're doing it. They don't even know they're talking about it. So, or anywhere else there'd be issues. And then, of course, women are so, if they've made something of themselves, are so used to having to overcome that, they built up an unconscious resentment to most men that they don't even really realize is present. So they're not letting the man in when he hasn't even opened his mouth yet. So, but they can tell that when he does, it's not going to be good. So they're making it pay in advance. So I'm exaggerating for effect. But that's what I got to do with relationships. I got to get all that shit out of the way. So that's what we do.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's great because I know some of the people you've worked with, and the amazing way you have to move them, because again, you haven't made it about you. One thing I always like for this audience is what are 2 or 3, 4 things, I don't know, what are a couple things they could do right now that if they decided I'm never going to listen to a podcast again and I'm not going to go to any person, but what are 3 things they could take away with them right now that they could start using today or tomorrow to shift their consciousness, their mind, their business, their money, whatever that is?
All right. Well, I got to say it because I've never said this on a podcast before. Never. I don't know why I haven't, but you asked that question. And if you're going to shortcut it and I'm not going to work with them, then I would suggest they just read my book, The Trophy Effect. Because if they pick up The Trophy Effect, and now I think it might even be sold out. I'm switching publishers over to Balboa Press Hay House, and it should be available soon. But I think there's still some left on Amazon. But if you read The Trophy Effect and allow it in, then all the things I'm talking about, you'll be able to understand from a whole new perspective. And it's going to be one of those things, because if you're a coach or somebody that I usually work with, people usually don't work from people that just came off the street, okay?
Right.
It's going to be like you're saying, oh, yes, yep, oh, yeah, that's the way I say, okay, yeah, And so it's kind of like, it's not like hard to grasp. In fact, so much so that it's like, well, then how can it even be impactful? So that would be the first thing. The other thing I would tell them is make sure that, so if you don't think you've got any limiting beliefs, make sure that you realize that's your first limiting belief. And then know that the reason why we aren't arrogant and think we don't have any limiting beliefs is because if we are being powerful, we're being powerful quite often. And so when we are, and we've just conducted a great coaching session, or we've created a great thing in our business, we kind of think, well, then I'm fine, or that I really don't have limiting beliefs, except the relationship is bad, or this is bad, or I'm not growing, or seem to be people are frustrated with me all the time. So the second thing would be to take a look in the mirror and fish for those things where, and here's why it's easy to find that. Because the thing that keeps us from finding it is our ego and our belief that we don't have anything that we need to improve upon. And that's the thing that's actually stopping us. So the truth is, we all have that stuff, and it's not our fault. It's really just it's the fact that we are humans, so the mind has caused those things to happen. So it's really, you're on an expedition, a fishing trip for the things that are still in your way, a misbelief, something going on there. Not proof that you're broken, okay?
Right.
So we all got that stuff going on, and you just have to own it. And once you own it, it disappears. You don't have to work on it. You don't got to get over it. When I wake a man up, I got a client right now, and I talk to the wife, and she goes, every time he opens his mouth, he's talking down to me. You know, she also works for him in their real estate business. And, you know, he's the boss. So, of course, he has to ask her to do stuff and get her to do stuff. And if she doesn't do it, he's upset about it. So he just sees it as, well, if she just did it, I wouldn't have gotten upset. You know, he doesn't realize that the energy is coming from, I'm the man, I'm the boss, you're not, and, you know, just do it. And all the other energies that could be. So, and it's funny when somebody first sees that they're bringing that energy, the first thing, I'm not bringing that energy. If she would just do it, or if this would just happen, I wouldn't have to raise my voice, or I wouldn't have to do that. What? I'm a powerful person. That's how I create it. Well, I raise my voice all the time. I got really strong energy. And me and my wife go back and forth. There's times where we do just, you know, we just have fun with it. We just, but it's never, ever born of any disrespect for her or any at all thinking that she's not fully capable or fully equal. In fact, she's so much smarter than me and so able to see things quicker than me. You know, I mean, sometimes she's mad at me because I make her do too much. Like something's wrong with my computer. Honey, why don't you just learn? Why should I learn it? You're better. So that's what it is. So if we could just make sure that if we looked and saw that what's coming out of our mouth is not, what isn't attached to that is any kind of energy that we're dominating, making somebody wrong, not trusting them, or leftover stuff from just growing up, or our own culturalization, growing up in this culture, then we're going to be fine. So it's always looking, especially when do you do that? When something's not effective. If somebody's upset with you, if you didn't get an outcome, if you communicated something. So that's probably a lot of stuff there, but hopefully that answers your question.
It did. No, that's great, because I love the first part though, where you said, if nothing else, get the book. Right? Start somewhere. So many people don't, and yes, I always get comments on this, but you don't start. And start somewhere. And even if you have to start within your own comfort zone, because we know we all do, start somewhere, get out there somewhere, get it going. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you, should they just get your book? Is there a website? Where would you like them to go? Well,
the website, everybody and their mother trying to sell me something, I get 40, things a day. So and I have no time to even get to them.
Minimum. All you have to mention is certain names in the industry, and it's like the charge is on.
There you go. So I get to them eventually. But the best way is just on Facebook. Believe it or not, I put posts on Facebook every day that are little excerpts from the book, things that I write all the time that are, that I intend to have people read, and it inspires them for the day. So I'm there, and even if and I. If either friend me or simply follow me or just go there, and then you'll be able to contact me through Messenger, and it's probably the best way. Because I find when people contact me through Messenger, I know that now there's an intention behind it, not just to go to the website. They're usually aren't trying to sell me something through Messenger.
Yeah, and so that, and Michael, the thing is too, it's funny because I've been on doing stuff on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has now become, the minute you friend somebody, it's like you get a page if they're trying to sell you something.
Absolutely.
So I sent back to the last couple. I said, it's really nice, but it would have been even better if you could have asked me one question about myself.
Yes,
have a wonderful day. I couldn't help myself. So I'm like, and then I just let it go. I'm just let it go. And one guy even said,
real quick, I want to question something. Here's the other thing, and I know I do it because obviously I'm enrolling people and inviting people to come work with me or be in a mastermind or do what we're doing. If there's something we're going to do, I'll invite people. It's of course. But the truth is, I have never once, I don't know. My entire business is referrals, or they come to me off Facebook or whatever they do. They may ask, and then I jump on it. But I've never sold anything. I've never once put my coaching out into the universe or put it on LinkedIn or put it anywhere else. So I'm going to just consider myself privileged. I'm not making selling wrong, but so I rarely myself respond. Now, if there's something I need, if somebody, you know, everybody tells me they want to help my website be better. Yeah, I know it needs to be better. So, you know, at some point I'll allow synchrodestiny to kick in. And if I wake up in the morning and think, okay, the next person who says that, I do want to do something on my website, there you go, you just got lucky. But it was not because their pitch was any better than anybody else's. And and there's just so little that I need. We need, if I need it, I put my wife in charge, she goes fine. So, but again, we don't not sell. We just don't sell. We put it out there. You just put it out there. There's so many podcasts. You're going to get on if you're worthy of being on a podcast, you'll be on a podcast. You tell the truth. You show up as somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about and with an intention to contribute and make a difference. And the right people will find you. Okay?
Right. That's right. No, and that makes a big difference. Thank you so much for being on today. And I was going to say just one last thing. It's we enroll. I mean, it's all about enrollment, right? It was my biggest change because I was on some of the hard driving side, and then 14 years ago ran into Marcia Weeder. I don't know if you know Marcia. And, Marcia just took me down the path of enrollment and showed me that other side, then walked on a peak stage and enrolled 80% of the room. So, but I saw a whole different energy and side, and because Marcia's even very into her masculine side. I mean, Marcia doesn't mess around, but I saw this whole loving enrollment. I'm still going to get you to where you need to go. And that really changed a lot of the way I do things for many years now.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, yeah, it's been so true. Well, thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate you got to stay around after we officially end the podcast, see if anybody has any questions.
Oh, cool.
And then we'll let you go too. We'll let you go. You got a couple things to do.
All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And we'll play, I'm sure, at some point with you.
Yes, we will. I want to thank everybody for being on the podcast today.
Good to see you all up there.
Yes, you will. You guys are amazing. It's a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Go to thementorstudio.com. You can go and listen to old podcasts, other podcasts that we've done, other amazing shining stars like Michael today. It's learning, it's education. If you want to play with us more or be around the community, it's $200 for the whole year, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's no upsell, and that's where you go. We have created a weekly also fair for you to be at. You can network, you can draw from business. People are coming in from all the different communities, and it's so great to have all of you on. So for myself, Michael Silvers and Michael Nitti today, thank you, the Mentor Studio. Thank you, everybody listening to this podcast. Drive safe, fly safe, live in your house safe wherever you are. And I'm going to get comments on this too. Just wear a mask and wash your hands. Anyways, okay, I slipped that in. So and that won't mean anything in 10 years, but have a great.
Hopefully, 3 years, 2 years.
Yeah. Okay, 1 month from now. But everybody have a great day, and I'll talk to everybody soon. The podcast is now over. That's for the team. All right, so the podcast is over, team. Just remember to cut it right there. All right, do you guys have any couple of questions or anything with Michael before I do let him go?
Oh.
Anybody? You can open up your mics. This is friendly people. And you don't have to make up questions, by the way.
No, Michael?
There, Ron, go ahead.
Michael, thanks for talking about it coming through you as of not, it just, when you speak, it just coming from the bottom of your heart when you're doing your coaching, because it seems to work for me.
Beautiful. Of course it does. It'll work for anybody. But if you're somebody who actually, it's almost like you say, well, just let it come through you. But you still have to understand what that means, like you.
Right.
And you know that you're directing it and causing it and allowing it. And then you'll speak to it. Like what comes through you isn't the words. Mm-hmm. It's, what to say. I always tell people when I'm coaching them, you're going to hate me if you don't like being interrupted. Because when it comes through me and they're in the middle of something and they're talking and I just realize what it is they need to hear right now, they're going to hear it right now. And so I say, because here's what happens. It's coming through me in that moment. So if I don't say it within the next few seconds, 12 seconds later, I go, I forgot what it was. and then, of course, the thing to say didn't come through me. What they needed to hear came through me. And then, of course, I'll voice it and speak it as it is, as do you. And that's what we do. So, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like from my higher self, actually, to be honest, for me.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm not suggesting that everything has to come through us. I mean, well, it is coming through us and it's coming through our heart. But it's not like it's also not from something we've said before. You know, insights may come, but they still get shaped by what I already know. It's not like I say, every once in a while, a pearl will come out of my mouth like, oh, wait a minute, I got to write it down. I never said, what's that, once a year? I mean, so we've said this stuff before, but it's how we speak it and how it comes out of us and how we know they need to hear it in the moment. So yeah, when it comes through you, it's pretty cool.
Any other questions? Oh, by the way, Don, are you still in Brazil?
No, I'm not in Brazil yet. I'm still waiting for the sea borders and land borders to open.
Oh, she's fading out. So
It's
where?
crazy.
Yeah,
the thing is, we can get by, but I can't get to the airport.
Oh.
It's ridiculous. The border is open to Brazil, but getting from Buenos Aires, where I am in Buenos Aires, to the airport, because the airport is in a different district to where I am, I can't get there because I am not an essential worker because I'm sailing around the world. So, because if you're hired or you're resident, and I'm just like, seriously, or en serio? So yeah, I'm still here in Buenos Aires at the moment.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I've got Operation Miss Mermaid underway, though, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll be airlifted or smuggled under the cover of darkness, please.
You're amazing.
Wow.
Anybody else, any quick questions for Michael before I let him go?
No, energy is just beautiful. I love I just loved it. So thank you so much for sharing.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you, Dawn, Paula.
Right.
Bye.
You guys stay on for a second. Michael, thank you so much for being on, and thank you for spending your time. This will go out in a couple weeks. It might even be a month, and you'll get an email if you want to promote it at all. But you'll also get how to listen to it if you want, and there'll be full transcripts and everything.
I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Yes, we will. All right, Michael, have a good one.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Michael. Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye, Michael. The rest of you, I just want to make sure that everybody, make sure you sign up for Mark's class next week. It's Friday, Saturday. That's his total transformation that a lot of us, bought for $1,000 anyways. But he's doing it virtually. It's the first one. Let's be on there to support him. He has been in front of 8 million people, so it's not about being nervous. But it is truly, and he's bringing the education and knowledge into 2 4-hour blocks. And we're going to have a little business training too, and then we'll just have a little group of us get together from the Mentor Studio and go from there. And then for those of you who are part of the Brain Trust, the mastermind, we'll also probably do a little piece at that point too. So don't forget to register for Mark's event, and emails went out to everybody, and another email text blast is going out, and it's on the Facebook group. But if you can't find any of that, or you have any problem registering for Mark's event, just email me, the famous, I'll use just this email address is just the easiest, msilvers@vtgrp.com, and go from there. So, and then we're not going to move over for now onto the new site. We're going to stay on the Facebook group for a little bit. I got the programmers doing some other things, so they're like, yeah, sure, we can do that. So we're going to stay on the Facebook group for now because people are saying it's just the easiest for them, and then we will move to the site. Everything else is ready. And
always want option, don't they?
What was that? Don, you're coming in and out.
I said people always want the easy option.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I know. I just want to shift them to something a little new, and they're like, "Oh, but I know Facebook. It's so comfortable." So I'm making sure that everything is exactly just simple and easy once we're ready to move. Mark's event will shift their brains, and we won't have to deal with that anymore. How's that? The other thing too, just to let everybody know. This is because people will watch this recording, is we now do have a fair every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's an hour of networking. We put you in actually different breakout rooms, and you truly network with people and do business. People have actually done business every single time. And then we do an hour of training. So that's every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll get everybody more information on that. I didn't want to send that out and send out Mark's event because everybody gets confused and then they don't. But there is a fair every single Tuesday, just to let everybody know, at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you want more information on that, you can email me that to msilvers@vtgrp.com. And I might even post about it too. But I want to make sure everybody gets to Mark's event. Number one, for those of you, some of you know him longer than I do, we're supporting the move to virtual. He's going to do next one in November. And then we're also on there, so we all continue our mindsets, continue down the path. There's a million things virtually. I get it. And work together. Any questions before I let you guys go, you amazing Vertical Life Mentor students? It's a great day. Michael Nitti's brilliant, by the way. Just brilliant.
Oh, I like him. He's like the giggles that he's got. If he giggles, I'm in.
I know he's the best. There's this whole group that they're fun to work with. They're fun to be around. And I love the energy, and it doesn't get any better than that. And that's what we try to bring. Either to the Mentor Studio, we bring the craziest of the crazies, or we bring the ones, we try to bring them if they're a lot of fun. But you got to laugh. You got to laugh and enjoy life.
Place, then.
Always, you are. We just have fun. How's that, right? No scripting. I throw the questions out however it goes. And for those of you that are podcasting, by the way, and listening to this, because everybody's going to listen to the rebroadcast, just have fun. Don't be so serious on your podcast. Have fun. I'm telling you, if I listen to one more podcast that on the show today, it's not going to happen. So make sure that you have a good time while you're podcasting. Podcasting is the wave. It hasn't even really started. It's still in its infancy if you just look at the numbers and stats. And it's a great thing to do. And no, you don't have to have your own show, by the way. You don't. Podcasters do love to have other podcasters on their show because you can spread my numbers. At the same time, podcasters are always there's so many podcasters looking for great content, people to be on their shows. Not everybody has to be a podcaster. Like not everybody's going to be a leader. And so at the same time, you can still get on a lot of podcast shows. That's pretty easy. And support them. Punt it out to your list. Don't just get on their show and walk away. If you listen to my show today, send it out to 50 other people. That's what we remember, because then we know we're all in this together. It's not about my show, your show. It's because every show I'm on, I promote like crazy. And that's how we just do this together.
I repurpose them as well. Every show that I'm on, shows I was on 2, 3, 4 years ago, like if that comes up and that's a relevant podcast for what I'm writing about or what I'm sharing, that goes out again. Just keeps the traction going.
That's right. That's right. And you never know who you podcast that. It's like for my podcast, is it a year and a half ago now with John Yoshai? Well, John is now like one of the top players at Instagram, right? So, he was already at YouTube, one of the top players. And so it also helps with notoriety, but the show still, even the ideas and concepts, because he talked about more of what you do to get your message and your messaging and all of that, that still holds today. So it is true, Don. Repurpose. Look, there's nothing new since Socrates. We know that. So it's all just repurposed and repackaged in a different way. And hey, let's be honest. How many of us still have our Tony Robbins DVD, CDs, VHSs, whatever, and it's just been repurposed. If you look at it, how many of us bought stuff by Jim Rohn from way back and it's repurposed, and Zig Ziglar and Koenig Nightingale and on and on and on. Everything's been repackaged, repurposed. Or I have a new idea. Okay, you've taken everybody else's ideas.
I'm going to show my age now. I'm going to say Paul J. Meyer.
No, that's okay. It's all good. That just means you've been around. That's all we care about. So, if you told me Socrates, I'd be worried. So,
I've still got his books and Plato.
But all right, you guys are awesome. Thank you all for being on. And by the way, all of you, Dawn is new to our community, and she's really freaking awesome, and what she does is awesome. So you should reach out to her on Facebook. She's stuck in Buenos Aires and has time anyways. So,
I'm not stuck anywhere.
That's right. I like it. She's having way too much fun in Buenos Aires. She goes dancing every day. I don't know what. So she's having a life of her life. But for all of you, if you look at, Ron's been part of a lot of the programs that I've done. Misty and Paula were part of the original mastermind that we built for Peak Potentials and Harv Eker. And a lot of us have been around a long time. And you guys, Paula's going on stages, and Misty is, and Ron has, and we just go on and on and on. I know. All right, everybody, you guys have a great morning, afternoon, or evening. For the Mentor Studio and Vertical Live audience, we love having you on and listening. I'm doing these during the days. Yes, I know a lot of you said please go back to evening, but right now, for just some of the speakers we're trying to catch, these have been better timings. That's why we record everything, and we make sure we put it on the site within 24 hours. I want to thank you all for being on. You guys have a great day. And Misty, stay around just for a minute, and I'll kill the recording after that. All right, bye, everyone. Oh, let's let it go with a word. Hold on. I almost broke my protocol. What word should we let it go with? It can be anything. A word of empowerment, a word of funny, whatever it is. What word?
Dance.
Dance.
Yeah.
You okay with dance? All right, we're dancing. All right, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, warm up energy, say dance. I'll throw it in the air. Here we go. Warm it up. Get some energy going. Get some energy. 1, 2, 3. Dance. Awesome. All right, everybody. I'll talk to you. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
We're honored that you invested time with us today at the Mentor Studio. Now, don't be greedy. Share this knowledge bomb with all your dope peeps on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Actually, we'll even pay you to do it. To get the deets, please check out thementorstudio.com.